Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. After a gap of a few weeks, Professor R. 𝗣𝗽𝗼𝗂𝘗, also fondly called as Professor RV, is joining us again as we talk about Hindu unity. Before I bring our guest in, a humble request. Please like this video and also subscribe to our channel. And if you haven't already clicked on the bell button for notifications, please do so. And now let's welcome Professor R. 𝗣𝗽𝗼𝗂𝘗. Professor Sir, Namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskaram, Namaste, Vanakkam. It's always a delight to speak to PGurus audience. As I always mention that they are very erudite and good in comments. Some people, of course, abuse and other things. That's all right. That's okay. That's part of the game. Otherwise, it is quite interesting and very, very educative actually for me. And I thank, of course, Sree Iyer, the PGurus boss, mentor, everything, for providing this opportunity. And of course, our Sharma, without whom this thing will not be moving. He is technical, topic, everything actually. As we call it as a bottle washer to the head cook. So he is a complete thing he is taking care. Okay, after quite some time I'm getting into this. I was not keeping well actually. Now it's slightly better. So today I think Iyer would have mentioned we will have a discussion on this issue of Hindu unity. That is becoming a very major task and everybody is just now I read in the news that Bihar government has announced holidays for the next year. They have cut down all the important Hindu holidays like Janmashtami, Shivratri and other things. They have extended more to the Islamic holidays. So that's everybody is telling what is all this and how can they do it. It's an appeasement and this type of thing is going on for quite a long time actually. It's not something, and it's a very common, and I am sure other states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Bengal will follow the Bihar example. What is that, sir?
Sir,
you wanted
sir,
to mention?
The day is not far off when 10 70-plus-year-old women will greet people like Nitish Kumar, make a circle and greet him. So he comes inside and like this, and then they will take turns in hitting them with their chappals. You can imprison an 18-year-old, 24-year-old, but what will you do with a 70-year-old grandma? This day is not far off, sir. These people have lost their mind. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. Now, the first and foremost is I would like to thank 𝗏𝗏𝗏, one of my very good friends and long-standing person. He is 𝗒 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 of RSS. I'm sure most of you would have heard his name. One of the major thinkers contemporary available. And also, of course, there is a talk and some people's wish and whatever it is that he may become the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 of RSS after the term of this our current Mohanji is ending. Anyhow, what is the most important thing is Dattaji gave an interview recently in the World Hindu conference being held at Bangkok. He mentioned very interestingly so many. I think everyone, it's available on the YouTube. Everyone must have a look at that interview, follow it very closely, because I would say that it is one of the major ideological expositions of the contemporary situation. One important point he mentioned is that they are stressing on uniformity and not on uniformity but on unity of Hindus. So the questioner again and again asks, would you like Hindus to be? He says no homogenization. We only want unity. So this is a very interesting observation actually. So it takes us to the age-old question of who is an Hindu. That's a very interesting thing. Some of you may know that Supreme Court has settled it 90s, very perceptive way, or that they have defined Hindus to be those who are not Muslims, Christians, Jews and Parsis. So if you are residing in India, you have to check box, tick, are you a Muslim? No sir. Are you a Christian? No sir. Are you a Parsi? No sir. Are you a Jew? No sir. Then automatically you are a Hindu. This is very, very interesting. This is actually the age-old way of defining Hindus. Some of you may not have heard about the story of 𝗤𝙁𝙗𝘗, wherein 𝗤𝗚𝘗𝘗𝘗 it comes. This is not the thing. This is not, some of the youngsters who might not have heard about him, his father actually gave him in a fit of rage. He offered him to Yama as a offering of the yajna. His father was doing a yajna, and 𝗤𝙗𝘗𝘗 was a young boy. He went and pestered him, whom are you going to give me? Because his father was giving the various other things, fruits, then flowers and cow and everything as done. And then, whom are you going to give? He told, he got very maybe irritated or whatever it is. He told, I am giving it to you, Yama. So, Lord Yama has to take him. Yama told, this is not your time. You are not expected to come today. Why did you turn up? He said, no, my father has given me as a... Yama was puzzled actually. But anyhow, since you are so young boy, you have come, I will have to accede to the request. And if you have anything to ask, I will grant you. Then he asked, what happens, Yama, to after the death? This is something very interesting. And Yama told, this is a very profound question for a young boy like you to ask this. And I would tell you, you go to the earth again. You become a king and you have all the luxuries of life, and you have many wives and many horses, many elephants and all the things, and then enjoy yourself and then come back. Then he came back and 𝗤𝙗𝘗𝘗 told, no, this is not the truth I am searching for. Then again, 𝗤𝗗𝘗𝘗𝘗, he told, this is not the one I am convinced. Then again he was sent to as a ordinary beggar and suffer, and again this goes on. Anyhow, the point is, the way we define ourselves is in terms of negation. This is very difficult to define a Hindu actually. How do you define it? Tell me. He can be a vegetarian, he can be a non-vegetarian, he can be a believer, even atheists are Hindus, incidentally. The Gnostic in strict interpretation are those who don't believe in the authority of the Vedas. They are called the Gnostics actually. You don't have to believe in God. You can be a non-believer in God and Hindu. There is nothing contradiction about it or anything. So, how to define? To define it's a mathematical issue actually. To define a set, you have to have the elements of the set and characteristics which should be able to pinpoint. But any characteristic you associated with Hindu, I can give you alternate characteristic which will also be part of the Hindu system. This is something very important and interesting. In other words, you can't give me a characteristic which is completely exclusive and for which the counter example will not be part of the Hindu system. That's not possible. So that is why perhaps Supreme Court in their wisdom thought better to define it in terms of those who are not this, those who are not that. And so automatically the question comes, why Hindus never, first of all, had a single name? Now Sanatana Dharma is what we are used to. We talk about it. The basic point many people forget is, in the olden days, they, before the advent of these desert cult into India, they would never have imagined that there are ideologies, there are belief system which will finish off the other belief system. So this was never thought about actually. This is not in terms of tolerance. This is in terms of acceptance. So they were, since there is no alternative system which will totally try to conquer you or anything, there is no need for you to define yourself. There is no need. This is the thing, and any other system is also accommodated. For instance, Buddhism is considered as a rebel child of Hinduism. So, as far as after the arrival of the desert cult only, this problem started. Because they wanted, and they had a single book and a single type of guru, or single type of a god. And they would, genuinely they wanted to convert other people. That is their task. That is their job actually. They don't do that, then it would not be a appropriate thing actually, I would say. I recall, I might have mentioned it, going to a church in England. This was in the 2000. That time itself, it is a huge church which can accommodate some 1,000 people, one of the largest churches. But Sunday morning, I was shocked and surprised. There were hardly some 10 people. I was the 11th one to sit in the seat in the front one. And that being a Sunday, some important Sunday perhaps, the bishop was giving the sermon. And at the end of it, he came to me, and incidentally, I was the 11th person or something. And the remaining 3 or 4 were from Kerala and Andhra. So there is the British church is having such a sad state of affairs. Anyhow, and I was told part of that building has been now converted into a pub. That's a separate story. The bishop came to me and told us, he was also surprised because he might not have seen 11th person any Sunday, only this Sunday. So, where are you from, sir? I told I am from India. I was just, oh, you are from India. So they are all living in darkness, he told me. I told, yes, massive power cut, and there is a coal problem also. This way conversation went for a couple of minutes actually. He didn't understand what I am telling. I was deliberately focusing on the power issues. I told there is lack of coordination between center and states. He was going on telling there is a need to pull you out of your darkness. And kindly remember, it is not his some propaganda or anything. It is his dharma to convert me. This is what people don't realize or accept. It is enjoined upon every one of the believers of the church to convert others. Basically, not in terms of conversion only. It's in terms of helping others facilitate to reach God. This is most important actually. They are not doing something which is in terms of what we consider to be converting, rice bag and other things. They think they are doing something which is genuine thing. So, in the absence of these two desert cults, there was no need for the people who were existing at that point of time to define themselves in a particular fashion, in a particular way actually. That is something which I think we have to recollect, or we have to know. Now, coming to think of the other issue, there were, of course, so many type of changes which have taken place in the Sanatana Dharma itself. It's not something frozen over a time period. But most important point is the reformers have to come from within. That is most important. The outsiders are not recognized as reformers. One, outsiders can at the most convert and take away people to Christianity or Islam or whatever it is. They cannot. Second is, the reformers have to come from inside, and they have also to be substantially Sanatanis, believers of the system, and people accept them as serious believers of the system. Only the Sanatanis can reform the system, not others. Rajaram Mohan Rai was not a Sanatani. He was not very successful or anything. Ambedkar, not very successful or anything. They are all, they all made noises, they all made. But take otherwise Vivekananda, even Gandhi for that matter, and Narayan Guru, all these people made good changes in the system because they were serious believers. So this is something which contemporary reformers also should keep in mind, including the Supreme Court and other things. You cannot reform the Hindu society by just passing some laws. The example is Sabarimala. The greatest example immediately which comes to mind is Sabarimala. They thought they are very clever by half or something. But the members of the society did not accept it actually, including the women who were in the forefront of agitation against the Supreme Court order. The point is, if it has been done by, incidentally, I should mention here, you may be surprised, recently he passed away, this in Kerala, who has been a very doyen of reforms, and he actually wrote in support of the Supreme Court judgment initially, and then later he changed his thing. The thing is, a lot of these people are reformers, and but their reform noise will not be accepted by the society. So Hindu society can be and be reformed only by people who are immersed. And for instance, if you want to do temple reform, you should be a regular temple goer. A Vaidyanath Iyer could take the Harijans inside the Madurai temple because he was accepted as a, he was a very regular devotee and a sincere bhakta, which Ramsamy Nayakar couldn't have done it actually. He was not accepted. And incidentally, there is no temple entry movement by the so-called Dravidian group at all in Tamil Nadu. Something which we should keep in the back of the mind. But the other side, not in terms of reform, but in terms of protecting the group, that cannot be, that has never been done by the group. The group is not, except we can quote a Shivaji, who was actually a king in the sense. So it is the state which should play the role of protecting the Hindu citizens. The role of the state is very, very critical. Never the Hindus had their own state. That's a major problem actually, except in the last post 47 when Britishers left us. Otherwise, the government was never in the hands of the ordinary people of this country. And that is very, very important. Because by definition, they are not one who carries weapons to protect themselves or protect their gods. As one of my Islamic friends jokingly asked me, why do your gods carry all these weapons? He has seen all this Muruga and Kalima and other things. I told him they carry all these weapons to protect us from people like you. And that is their major task actually. In your case, you carry weapons to protect your gods. Have you ever thought about it? The desert cult people, they carry weapons in order to protect their gods. The humans have to protect gods. Here it's the reverse. The gods have to protect us. Today, gods obviously are not. So the state has to take up that role. If you ask me, the single important role of the state is protection of Hindu Dharma. That should be the one. Not just the Indian population, given the situation globally, it is required today. You look at the Khalistani movement, you look at various other type of movements which are so everywhere, whether it is UK, USA or everywhere, the Hindu Sanatanis have to be protected. Otherwise, for instance, we read in papers, we also see in the television that some of these groups, the Jihadi groups or Khalistani groups, try to attack ordinary Hindus and other things. They are never known for counter-attack or anything. They never carry belt bombs or nothing. What is the single major crime committed by the Hindus globally? If at all you can ask, crime I mean in quote unquote, in that sense. They are greatest achievers. They go and integrate with the society. They never create any complication. They never make any major demands, nothing. They just identify themselves. follow all the rules and regulations of the respective government wherever they are, and perform well in the task, whether they are a doctor or a professor or a IT specialist or even a mechanic or a car driver, whatever they are. And that is why the statistics you can see globally, the percentage of Hindus in jails in UK or USA is negligible compared to the percentage of Muslims in jails in these countries in relation to their population. So, their Hindus are law abiding. By and large, they would like to go with the regulations and other things. They never get involved in what one can call activities wherein they would like to. And converting is not one of their dharma or anything. People come on their own and then they may join. Like ISKCON, several people come and join on their own. There is no, what one can call a massive movement or anything. So the role of the state becomes very, very important. People are telling, is the business of the state to be in business? Definitely not. I think we have understood the role of state in the Western idiom in terms of, carrying on business activities, manufacturing activities. No. The role of state should be protection of dharma. That should be the primary role of Indian state. Nothing more or nothing less. So internal law and order, external defense. And globally now, not just for India. Off and on some reports come, I do not know how much it is true. Some unknown people assassinate some of these terrorist sympathizers or those who indulged in terror activities. And it is claimed that it could be done by the Indian agencies. God knows where the truth lies. Even the Canadian Prime Minister in their parliament accused without any substance or anything, allegation that Indian agencies are the ones who conducted. If, a big if, IFF, big if it is true, I would say the Indian state is doing its duty, doing its job. That is how. So, on a global scale itself, today it is not just on a Indian scale. And globally we are doing well. So, there is obviously a sense of envy pertaining to the Hindus. One of my friends in France told, how could you, introduce GST? You have some 23 languages and 28 states and so many cultures. In EU, we are trying it for the last 70 years. We have never succeeded. We cannot do it. You could do it. And there is a awe and there is a sense of, I would say, envy in terms of that we are living together. We are, united. All these things are creating a, and there is also a, major, what one can call envy in terms of one of these so-called underdeveloped country with lot of backward sense could continue to be a functioning democracy. All these things are got their own issues which we are not realizing since we are inside actually country. So the state must take the role of protecting them. Second is, according to me, many people may or may not agree, the state should also take the role of administering the secular activity of temples, not the sacred activity. There is a distinction between the two. Sacred activities should come under agamas and various other type of local practices as well as priest and other. But the secular activities must be administered by the state. That should be the role of the state, not running HMT and BHEL and BEL and other. Defense, internal security, external security for the Hindus, and temples. And temples including ancient structures, archaeological structures, all these things should be under the control of the state, not under the control of individual people. Of course, some states are stupid today, like your state in Tamil Nadu or state in Kerala, another thing. And that doesn't automatically imply that, the state control should go. No, the state should be controlled by the Hindus. It should be the reverse, according to me. And in that context, one question automatically comes, is there a Hindu vote bank? People always, I remember Swami Chinmayananda, if I recall, is the only one who first brought up the issue of Hindu vote bank. Much before him, of course, the second guru of RSS, 𝗤𝗂𝘂𝘁𝗲, used to talk about Hindu unity and other things. But the concept of Hindu vote bank was Chinmayananda's idea. And we have several caste identity and other things. And the important point is, transcending this caste identity, can we have Hindu identity? In other words, it's possible for people to have multiple identity. It's not that we have to abolish all. Abolishing caste has been talked about for 2000 years. And good luck to those people who want to abolish caste. There's nothing wrong. You can try to, so many things are to be done, but nothing will come out of it actually. And those who try to abolish caste got abolished. That's the only thing which took place in this country. So multiple identity is possible. You can be a Kurmi, you can be Hindu. You can be a 𝗤𝗏, you can be Hindu. That is the way in which we have to go about doing it. Because once you abolish caste, we will Abrahamize Hinduism. We will become something like the desert cult actually, if you ask me. Everyone is, and it will be a very major problem for the whole world actually. Because if 140 crore people all say that they are all Hindus, then it's a very tricky thing for everybody. It's not, because each caste is a sampradaya. This we should remember. They have their own namakaran, they have their own way of mundakam, they have their own way of marriage, death even. In death, some Hindus, incidentally in Karnataka, some of the Linkayat groups bury their dead, not burn. As I told you, you can do anything, and the counter also, I can tell you, that will also be Hindu. So there is so each caste is a samskara, or is got their own way of doing things. Government of India cannot overnight say that all Hindus should do mundagam on a particular day, third year of the birth, first year of birth. Then we won't have enough barbers in the country. Forget about anything else. Anyhow, so there is nothing called individual caste are having their own system, their own. So it's a way of living actually. There is nothing wrong about it. And so being a Hindu is transcending this. This is the most important thing. This is what we should remember. The other thing is blasphemy. This is something very often comes. Oh, they told this, that fellow told this. Under our system, believe me, sir, there is no blasphemy at all. There are no blasphemy laws in Hindus. You can say anything. You can do anything, and people will just ignore you actually. Actually, I should fondly recollect to you Kalidas. Kalidas wrote KumarSambhava. Many of you may know about it. I am a student of Sanskrit. During my college days, some 7 slokas of that KumarSambhava were not prescribed by the Madras University in those days. Those were explaining the beauty of Parvati. These are about our private parts and other things which were excluded by the university unnecessarily, because obviously this will kindle more the curiosity of the student to find out what were the original Kalidasa's song. There was one Dinnaha in his time, Kalidasa's time, who made a big campaign about banning Kalidasa. He told Kalidasa is a pornographic writer and he should not be encouraged. And he carried on a movement and people just ignored him. People laughed at him. So the best way in which we deal with blasphemy is ignore. Or we just... and actually in our system, there is Ninda Stuti. Some of you might have heard about, who knows about this thing. Actually, Tukaram sings a song that don't go to this worshipping place in Maharashtra. He says, don't go there. and it is booze will catch you another thing.
While Professor has a sip of water, may I request all those of you who have not liked this video yet to please like this video. We could do with a better viewership. Thank you.
So, Nindas to the he says, don't go and worship. So, that doesn't automatically mean Saint Tukaram is what one can call unacceptable person or anything. This is a way of we joke about our God, we abuse our God, we ridicule our God, we love our God, we don't fear Him. We never fear our God. Incidentally, this is very important. Other faiths fear their God. We never fear our God, in spite of they carrying all the weapon, because we know that they are not meant for us. Anyhow, the point I want to stress is bringing this Hindu vote bank should be over and above the caste and other. That is the challenge which is being faced today. This is a very interesting conundrum actually. The identity. Multiple identities are important. And language is not an identity which will survive. For instance, this Andhra Pradesh was formed because of the fasting by 𝗤𝗖 𝗲𝙗𝘀𝗆 in the 52-53 period. He fasted and he is one of the major leaders, very pious and serious Gandhian leader who actually fasted and died. He didn't know later all these political leaders, he will fast between breakfast and lunch and then, say that they have achieved something great, or go in the night and then have some food or something. He fasted and died. And because of his death, there were a lot of problems. And then Nehru decided and formed the Andhra Pradesh on a language basis. Same Andhra Pradesh, recently you know that it got split into two portions. Even though both speak the same language, so language is not a unifying thing by itself. Same thing religion. Pakistan would not have broken up with East Pakistan as Bangladesh if religion is the only basis, as Jinnah thought. It's not the basis actually. So, what is the basis? Basis is the culture. Basis is the culture eternally which has been practiced all over India. Commonalities. For instance, before our president, respectable Murmu, took over, it was shown how she swept the temple, local temple. And at the end of it, she goes to the Nandi and whispers in the Nandi's ear something, some wish or whatever it is. You go to Rameswaram, you come to Tamil Nadu, any other temple, you will find a large number of youngsters, particularly women, girls, going and whispering in the ear of the Nandi. This is not something carried out by internet or anything. It is the culture which has spread to the length and breadth of the country. So this is the one which unites us. This is the one which keeps us together in terms of our living. So this is something which we should remember. And so the Hindu unity can come provided the concept of Hindu to defend himself need for a state to protect. And the state to protect is he has to elect. So today, for instance, example I am giving, in Tamil Nadu, DMK says 95% of our cadres are Hindus, which is true actually. And they all are very, very religious, very, very. I know several of them actually. In my own place in T Nagar in Chennai, there used to be one 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏. He started his thing in Ranganathan Street where I grew up actually. And his son's name was Anbalagan, who was an MLA who recently passed away. And in his name he started his thing. And he started a local temple near the railway station. He's a very pious man. He used to give a lot of funds for various religious activities. Why I want to say this is, quite a number of these people are all very, very religious and God-fearing and other things. But still, on a political basis, they all go and vote for a particular This is something which we have to think about. The powers of the state is very critical for Hindus because they cannot and they are not in a position to protect themselves. This is something originally gods used to do it. Today state has to do it. And if the state has to do it, you have to capture the state. So instead of arguing that temple should be liberated, which is a good logic, but not sustainable. For instance, when Jagmohan took over Vaishnavi Devi temple, there was not even a murmur of protest. People were very happy that the government took over. He cleaned up the whole thing because the temple was controlled by a coterie or whatever, that group. Several of the temples in eastern part of India particularly are totally mismanaged and controlled by these pandas. There is not much of a, for instance, even for the Maharashtra, when the government took over, there was no procession or protest by the Hindus because they were not happy about the way in which it was being run. This is something which we should keep in the back of the mind. Is there a massive agitation against the takeover? No. So, people also perceive that there is a need to, of course, the regulation clearly says if it is financial misdemeanor, it has to be rectified. And then within a period of 2 to 3 years, it has to be handed over back, which is not followed. So the point I want to stress is temples should be under the Hindu control, under the state control, which means the state should be under the Hindu control. This is what we should strive for. It is not like some business proposition, like BHEL, like government get over BHEL and the private fellows will run it. No. Temples are much more complicated. The sacred part of the opposite of secular is sacred, not communal. This communist only propagated this whole idea of secular opposite is communal. No, we will reject it. Opposite of communal is sacred. The sacred part of the temple has to be run by the priest and as per agamas and other things. The secular part of the temple is very important in terms of queue, in terms of food preparation, in terms of cleanliness. Hundreds of other things are there actually. All of that has to be with the state, and the state should be under the believing Hindus. This is something very, very important. Whoever runs the temple should be believing Hindus. Believing Hindus means they should know what is to be done, how it is to be done, and what are the various issues involved in them. So Hindu unity is possible, not that it is impossible, provided it recognizes multiple identities. If you start with an assumption that we should abolish caste, you are going nowhere. So multiple identities should be recognized, and Hindu is an overwhelming identity on a global scale. Let's be very clear about it. Until and unless, and the state has to play a very major role in providing protection. So the role of government should be external defense, internal security, and protection of temples. All other activities can take secondary role. Everything can be taken care by the ordinary people. Like Kamaraj, he always used to say, you provide water, you provide good roads, everything else will be taken over by done by the people. There is no need for government to provide water, provide good roads. That's enough actually. That's what he was telling in terms of same way. It is not required to worry about who runs business and other. Enough business people are there in the country to run business today. We are not in the 1950s. We are in 2020 where multiplicity of businesses have come out. And of course, identifying themselves as Hindus is not there still. I always maintain the day 20 top business people in the country come out and say that they are Hindu business people, that is the day Hindus have arrived. So no point in all these professors and students and journalists and other experts shouting that we are Hindus, and nobody is going to too much bother about it. The crux of the matter is, do large business people identify themselves? Every political party should be worried and concerned about being losing a Hindu idea, not just one party or one group or anything. All the parties should have the issue of identifying themselves with the group. So this is what we have to hope for, and this is what we have to fight for. Thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir. Take a sip of water, sir, so we can take a few questions.
Yes. Sorry.
Sir, he's still recovering from a bad cough, I can tell. And request just to have the first 3 questions. And we need to rest Professor R.V.'s vocal cords. Only 3 questions, please. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskar, the major supporters of minority appeasement are Hindus themselves. In such a situation, can we be optimistic about Hindu unity? Nobody objects genuine help to anyone, including minorities.
See, the appeasement minority, the whole idea of minority appeasement comes because the feeling that Muslims are going to vote as a bloc. As long as you have this feeling, it will continue. If suppose there is a feeling that Hindus are going to vote as a bloc, then this issue won't crop up at all. Alright? Okay. Sorry.
While he is having a sip of water, I'm going to ask Professor R.V. one very difficult question. Do you remember this, sir?
Yeah. I think I gifted it to you, no?
Yes. So initial days, viewers, 2015, 2016, we were still becoming friendly. Professor R.V. and I were becoming friendly. I don't know what happened. First time I met him, we connected. And I think the second or third meeting, I requested him, would you like to do something together? And he said, okay. But one thing that I always remember is he never let me leave empty-handed from his office. This is in IIM Bangalore. And one of the times I got this, he gave me a Parker pen also. That also I still have.
Okay.
I mean, these are all, I don't know how it happened. It just happened. I mean, I just asked him via email, I'd like to come see you. And he said, okay. I was in Bangalore at that time, 2014 or 2015, something like that. I was about to transition from a regular job to PGurus. That is how the whole thing started.
I even today wish you to continue PGurus as a major global TV channel.
Yes, sir. That is coming, sir. Now, YouTube has actually accomplished that. People now know that PGurus has a much wider type of subjects, not one thing, not this, not the other. And that's where our USPs are, unique selling proposition. So thank you once again. I remember all these little things. Viewers, next question, please. KPD080, the rationale for lust for wealth in capitalism and calling loss aversion as the irrational behavior, do you think this is Abrahamic influence on finance?
Definitely. Not our idea of wealth creation, not our idea of understanding loss aversion. Right? Our idea is even today practiced by some of the Jain business people and Marwari business people and others. Right? The amount of charity Marwaris do, many people do not even know. Actually, they do it silently. The millions of food centers Akshay Patra is running, or Ramakrishna Mission is running, or Ekal Vidyalaya is running, is all due to funding and financing by the small business people. Actually, anyhow, that's topic for some other time and some other day. Okay.
Next one, please. Sanjay Krishnan, thank you so much. Dear sir, Namaskarams. Do you think there is a possibility of a Hindu unity by our diaspora before happening in Bharat first?
Quite possible. Let's wait and see. Because our diaspora is getting much larger, much bigger role in the world actually, in terms of positions in organizations and even in politics. They are coming up. Of course, the UK Prime Minister himself is, in a sense, our diaspora. Let's wait and see how it develops and how the possibility is there, right?
Yes. And this is the last question. Mrinmayi Bharati, thank you so much. A society which still believes Brahmins are superior and Dalits are inferior, how do you think Hindu unity can be achieved?
I don't know what society you are talking about. I don't think the society really thinks that in this fashion or anything like that, right?
Mrinmayi, you should listen to Sandeep Balakrishna sometimes, because he talks about what kind of Rananiti kings had. When they went to war, they had some rules. And the rules, I'm just giving you broadly, mota, right? That is that you shall not fight in the streets. You shall fight in an open place that both sides will agree to. Second thing is, fighting is from dawn to dusk. Once dusk happens, nobody fights. Everybody goes back to their camps, life goes on. And the third thing is, whoever is the winner or whoever is the loser, it doesn't matter. You never kill or hurt children, women, and Brahmins. It didn't matter which king was fighting which other king. These were rules that were followed. So why do you have to go and take the poor Brahmin? They are helpless people. They just know how to, they are your nucleus. They are the ones who hold the dharma for you. In fact, somebody interestingly told me recently that he was passing by a village and, this guy asked him, so what is happening? And the villager shrewdly realized that the person who was asking him was a Brahmin. Then he says, sir, you all have left the village. Now, for every small dispute, we have to go to court or we have to go to some Katta Panchayat and resolve it. Previously, you were there. You guys were always, in the stand of Dharma. Everybody accepted your word. Another thing I'll tell you guys, in South India, in many states, the Brahmin in the village is usually called Sami or Swami. You understand why? Because Brahma, Brahman, Brahmin. These are supposed to be your upholders of what exactly is Brahman. It's a different matter that now everybody is in everything. So, to that extent, the British have kind of normalized everything. At the same time, this was the original concept. So, I hope that helps. Sir, thank you so much, Professor 𝗲𝗲. I hope you get better, and next week we'll have, or the next Hangout, we'll have a much better Hangout session.
Sure. Of course, I don't give any scoop or anything. Unlike our friend, right?
Yes. Sir, it's a fun time, sir. Monday mornings are fun time for me. Thank you so much. Thank you once again, sir. Viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.